Hey everyone, NanMan here, and we're about to jump into our next interview episode. This one is with Kuro, and we've got, of course, gameplay if you're watching it on YouTube, or if you're just listening, you don't get any gameplay. You just get to enjoy the adventures of the interview itself. This one's a little bit longer in the interview and much shorter in the gameplay. We decided to play some Timeless this time around. So if you're not familiar with Timeless, a lot of people play best of one Timeless decks, and it's just like combo and go fast. So we'll see how things go. We did it as a best of three, but it's still very, very quick for it. So enjoy the interview. Let me know what you think. Let me know who you'd like me to be able to interview next for our show. But let's jump into it. All right, everyone, we are back with NanMans Nerd Corner, and I have a special guest today, one of my favorite people to be able to watch, the amazing content creator out there, Kuro. Thanks for joining us today. How you doing, bud?
Hello. I'm doing quite all right.
Good. So, of course, I've been lucky to be able to hang out with you and know a little bit about who you are, and we'll let everybody else know a bit. But why don't you let all of our listeners or watchers, whoever is hanging out with us, know who you are? This is your turn. Tell me about yourself.
All right. Well, I'll take my turn. Untap, upkeep. Hello. I am Kurohitsuki. I'm a just Magic the Gathering Commander content creator. Hey, giving my love to Magic the Gathering, to the community through various forms of social media. Mainly on Twitch is where you'll find me playing Commander games way too many times a week. Instagram, TikTok, all of those glorious places where it's just Commander all the time, Magic all the time, general nerddom all the time. But yeah, that's what I'm about. I love this game. I have 52 Commander decks, which is not enough. We keep going higher. Can't stop, won't stop. And that's largely it.
No, that's a great little intro. So, like, I first found out about you through the streaming process as well, like being able to see you streaming Commander and everything. So I figure we can at least start with the stream aspect of things.
All right.
So first thing, talk to me a little bit about your journey from streaming. Like, you've gotten a good schedule in now, but you started out doing like Rainbow Six Siege and Arena and Commander. Like, you've gone all over the place. So a lot of people might look at you now or go to your Twitch and be like, oh, he's got so many followers. He's got, see your social media presence. But I want to hear more about the journey to get to where you are now, to lock in, like, this is my stream schedule, this is what I figured out that works best for me. So, like, how's that process work for you?
Yeah, so I mean, like, when I first tried this, so the first games I really streamed for, like, Rainbow Six Siege. That was like my first main game, and God, I still love that game. But I always, you can kind of see their face right there. The first two streamers that I ever just like truly fell for, Ammunition and Sasslin. They were both Siege content creators at the time, and they just, like, by watching them, I learned how to manage a stream, right? Where it's just like, hey, there's people talking in a stream, and you're able to kind of juggle that and play a game while that's going on, and here's how to kind of just like run a community and different things going on in the Discord and moderate this and everything. But also, I think the biggest thing I learned from both of them, and especially Sashlin, is how you can, like, be yourself and also content creation, right? Like, apologetically and unapologetically, like, yourself, right? Authentically, warts and all. So it's like being able to kind of see that you can, do pretty well for yourself while not having to kind of have this
persona that you put on.
Mask, right. This persona was really big and really good to learn from the beginning. Because certainly from far away, I'm just like, oh, everyone is just kind of not really being themselves. But I got to really see people be themselves, and then also I got to deal with them in person too, which was even better because I'm like, wow, there's no change. We're making mistakes, we're goofing, we're having a good time, just like we were on stream. So that's always been important for me, because, like, I'm not someone that can fake it very well. It's just that's just not me. I'll forget that I'm supposed to be faking it half the time, and so I'd rather just be who I am.
Be your authentic self. Yeah, that makes sense. I think that's really
comes,
interesting that it's like this. You had such unique role models to look up to in those
Mhm.
early stages that like a lot of people think about streaming. They go, "Oh my gosh, you're almost putting on a show for other people," and in a way you
Mhm.
are, but the show
Right.
doesn't have to affect who you are as a person, the way that you're presenting
Yeah.
yourself to everybody.
Right.
Nice.
I do see it as putting on a show, but the show in my mind and what I work in and how I've always dealt with things like, well, when I hear like putting on a show, I mean like putting on a production.
Hmm.
In high school, I was like president of the lighting, like the theater.
Oh, the tech side of
Um,
things, yeah.
yeah, the tech side of
Hmm.
things. So like when I hear putting on a show, that means like, all right, we got to have our stuff good to go, our things keyed out, just like everything, and even my day job. I just came back from Tampa, Florida, on a AV job trip. So like I work in audio visual. So like being putting on a show has been in my kind of like worldview for a long
Hmm.
time, but like it's always about like actually putting on a production. But the people that are a part of it, that's authentic. Right. Even if it's like an actor, you're still watching an actor act authentically. So that's just what it's always been in my mind. So that's just how I put on my own show.
Nice. Okay, so
Yeah.
so let's keep going through that like process. Like you
Yeah.
watched these great role models with Siege. You started streaming up Siege. Was it more of like I love this game, I want to get into it, or was it like I want to
Oh,
make my own community? Like what about Siege, or at least the streaming process at the start, got you to go with that route?
yeah. So Rainbow Six Siege, just in and of itself, is one. I started off being horrified by like the concept of like perma death, right? Like
Yeah.
I am not a competitive player.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I even like just playing Call of Duty back in the day, I never did like the like you only have one life for the whole
Right.
round sort of
Yep.
thing. I was like team deathmatch all the way, or like
Respawn. Let's
objective
keep
games,
going.
right?
Yeah.
Respawn, let's keep on going, because I'm like, why would I only want one life? Um, and when I would see like clips and videos of Rainbow Six Siege, I just see people dying out of nowhere, just like from some pixel angle from 2 miles away, they're just dead.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's just the nature of the videos I was watching, so it's not like the most authentic experience, but it's just like that's all I saw about it. So I was just like, man, this sounds horrifying. But my friends, my at-home friends, we would do like a game of the month sort of thing, like just every month or a couple months there was just like a new rotation of like, all right, everyone, we're gonna get this team game and start playing it,
Mm-hmm.
right? So Rainbow Six Siege just came up, and I was like, I don't really want to play. This is scary, but at least I'm getting into it with my friends. So hey, I downloaded it. We started it up, and I fell in love with it. I fell in love with just like the abilities concept of the game, where like it's
Mm-hmm.
still a shooter game at heart, but like
It's a
there's
toolboxiness. Like
it's a tool.
you
Yes,
gotta
yes,
try to solve this problem. Let me use these
yes,
abilities and stuff like that. I've
yes.
watched a bit of it. I have not played
Hmm.
Rainbow Six Siege, but I've watched a bit of it. So it's like that aspect of it is really cool and
Right.
really appealing.
Right. I was hardcore support player.
Yeah.
And it was nice to be able to be a support player where like I still have a gun. So like every time I got into like shooting situations, I was always scared and everything. Like,
Hmm.
why did you leave me alone? But I liked having the job of just like, okay, the site is right there. I need someone to take down this reinforced wall. And I'm just like, I got the C4 right here. I have the thermite charges. I just gotta make it there, put the thing on the wall, and just like get out. I can die afterwards, but like I did my part. Um, and there's even then just like the team aspect and working together with people was like such a huge, in a different sort of thing. It wasn't just like, oh, there's like the really good players on the left side of the map. Okay, like when I respawn, let me go run that way. Nor was it like Battlefield, where it's just like, well, there's a tank over here, let's work together and take that out, which I still like that aspect. But the Rainbow Six Siege aspect specific is just like, okay, I'm gonna drone out where this person is. We're gonna go hunt them down, because like that's one less person that can clutch the game. So even though it's like 4v5 now because we smoked one person out, that's way more in our favor. Oh, two of our guys just died. Okay, well now we gotta like adapt and adjust. And on it, and also just like watching Sass on ammunition play, like that was really good. But I would actually say like the start of the like Kurohitsuki channel, because like I was just playing Siege in general with
Yeah.
friends. And then eventually they moved on to like the next game of the month, and I was still in Siege. I was like, this is actually really, really fun. I want to play more and more of this. And the next game of the month was just something I was objectively not
Not
interested in.
into.
It's just,
Yeah.
it just isn't me. Um, So it's just like, okay, well, I want to keep on playing, and my friends aren't playing, but I kind of want like voices. So I started watching streams, started watching Saslin, and in her community, just like most toxic environment games, it's real difficult to play
Hmm.
it as a woman or femme presenting, or more than anything, femme sounding.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah, I get that.
and
It's a little bit toxic out there in the interwebs, especially in the gaming
incredibly.
scene. Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Right. And the thing for me was just that like Rainbow Six Siege is a game that more than almost any other game, the communication aspect is so important. It's incredibly important. Where like not having your microphone on is experiencing 25 less
Mm.
percent of the game than you should be. And I never liked that people just didn't feel comfortable turning on their microphone.
Hmm.
So there was someone in Assassin's chat just like one day who was just like, yeah, like I also am a woman as well. I play this game and it just sucks that I like can't have my microphone on because it just turns into a
It's
toxic
just a
thing. And
horrible
this was
experience. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, and this was back when they had when team killing was
Oh,
uh
still a thing.
more
So you could just sit
doable.
there and
Yeah.
like, oh no, yeah, okay,
Yeah,
that's
like
just like,
literally they would just shoot you and it's just
yeah.
like an awful time for everyone. So
Mm.
and I was just like I don't like that.
Hmm.
That's not okay. So I reached out to them and I was just like, hey, listen, we're both in the same community. We both follow the same person. I'm, I think, hopefully you can trust me not to be toxic. I'm just offering if you want to be able to play this game with people who follow the same streamer and clearly like believe in the same things. Hey, we can just like play together. And like that person ended up setting up my Discord
Oh,
right
sweet.
when I first
Okay.
started. Right, so
Yeah.
like kind of just that progression of just like I want people to be able to experience this wonderful and very unique game the same way I am, or at the very least like everything that I'm able to experience because that's what you should be able to do. And that started with just women playing Siege, and then that kind of extends further and further into Magic the Gathering, where I'm like on a visual aspect, I want everyone to be able to experience Magic
Mm-hmm.
the way I do, where there's like 4 screens and I'm analyzing people's boards and I'm talking out loud and I'm seeing chat and interacting and everything. That's how I enjoy the Commander and Magic experience. And I want to share that with other people because I think everyone else should be able to experience that,
I love that.
And
Yeah. I
I don't want anyone to be kicked out of that sort of thing. And I want them to be able to see it through my eyes.
Right. Be included, right? The game's awesome. Please experience this
Yeah.
game with me. Yes, I love that
Right. Yeah.
mentality.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what it's always been from the beginning. It's always been it's based on it's born from inclusivity.
Mm-hmm.
And also just this desire was like everyone should at the very least see where I'm coming from and why I enjoy this so much.
Mm-hmm.
And then hopefully like how I'm expressing it enhances your joy of it too. And then you also get to go on and have your own unique experiences.
I like that.
Yeah.
I definitely have similar experiences where mine's like the RTS background in StarCraft and
Yeah.
like
Oh yeah.
getting all of
Oh
my
yeah.
friends and stuff into it and like look at this great
Mm-hmm.
game, experience this with me and stuff. So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, I can
I got
definitely
into
relate
it.
to that story.
I got into cinematography through StarCraft and Warcraft.
See, it's
Yeah.
RTSs. It's great. It's great.
They're so good.
So let's keep talking more streaming stuff. So you've been doing
Yeah.
it for a little while now, and you have a great setup. I know you've worked hard on getting like your camera stuff set up the way you want it and all
Yeah.
that stuff. So talk about like the upgrade process. Like where were you like, oh, I need to prioritize lighting. I need to prioritize microphone. Like I've been using Blue Yetis since like 2010, and I'm like my microphones. I'm cool with the sound quality. Like it does what I need it to do. So now I've been like slowly upgrading. Oh, I want lighting. I want adjusting cameras. But what about you? What is your upgrade setup for your stream to like get it to the quality that you're hoping for?
Yeah, so my process. So when I worked at a card store in LGS,
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to like live stream from there, right? Like I wanted to get into like recording and stream games and everything,
Mm-hmm.
and so I bought like a bunch of supplies just over time, a lot of Amazon basics and
Yep.
everything like that, to kind of get that set up. And like even then, I had like a Logitech, like 2
Oh yeah.
Logitech cameras, and that just didn't pan out. Internet wasn't strong enough, whatever. But eventually I started working at Best Buy, and that's when I started to like kind of want to stream for myself and everything. So I picked up on like I still have it, Sony A6000 camera, which was already kind of dated, but still just like that was like the pinnacle camera for back then.
Right.
Um,
I mean, there's still plenty of
and
people that like that
yeah,
camera, and like I've gone to events and they've
100%.
been like, "Hey, this camera is the one to go for. If you're looking to upgrade right away, it's a little bit cheaper now. Like there's newer models, but this one is the one to go with." So
100%.
yeah.
Literally, there's nothing wrong with it. I love it. Still have it to this day. But even then, it was dated. But hey, listen, Best Buy discount and all that stuff. And like that was like the big camera upgrade, and I haven't really had to upgrade cameras. Like I haven't had to buy a new camera since. In terms of like audio, I'm not an audio person. I'm a video guy. Okay,
Yeah.
audio horrifies me. But like I started with like the Blue Yeti, of course. Started with the Snowball, then up to like the Blue Yetis.
Yep.
And then I went to like an XLR, but like the Logitech, the Wave 3, I bought that immediately because of the software on it. The routing software that allows you to have like distinct audio tracks is like that peak level of just like really customization on my side, on my end, that like other people don't see, but like they see the output of it. That's like exactly the like behind the curtain stuff that I love, and being able to have that. So the Wave platform, I can't imagine me moving off of that anytime soon.
Okay.
And then the quality's more than good enough for me for sure. And then actually I just upgraded to some new cameras, and that was actually through like my first ever brand deal sort of thing.
Nice.
And I got like a nice camera upgrade that way with like some moving 4K camera things. So like that's pretty freaking neat.
Awesome.
But yeah, just like a very, very slow progression in terms of like the gear. I always knew that lighting was important, so that was always like an aspect of me. You see my kind of lights changing over here. These are like some nano leaf lights that I bought back at Best Buy years and years and years ago, but like that software has gotten better to where like it can connect to my stream and everything.
Which is great.
And the lights and flash and all that sort of stuff. When I had Siege on, it's like when I would die, it would like flash red and everything like that. Like that sort of presentation aspect of like putting on a show, putting on a production. That's the type of stuff that I like to add to what I'm doing to, well, just make it more engaging for me mentally, to kind of find puzzle pieces to put together that make everything look cooler. And hey, hopefully stream enjoys it too.
Right, yeah, and like you said, like the chat gets to interact with it sometimes with the lighting and stuff like that, which is cool. So what's your like, if you're getting ready to start your stream, like you've got all your guests ready for Commander or something like that, what's the like setup look like for you? Are you just like, all my stuff's ready, I just kind of press go live, we're good to go? Do you have a bunch of stuff that you have to do before you actually go live every day? Like, what's that look like?
Yeah, so the way my mind works and how I make sure I'm constantly suffering, I must be suffering in some way, shape, or form in order to feel like I'm doing something. So like it used to just be like, okay, I never did the Excel spreadsheet, but I would just kind of like set up games. I'd ask someone if they're down to play. I already had a schedule. Like I had a schedule from like Siege days. It would just be after I was done working at the card store. I knew I would be back by 11 p.m. So like that was my stream.
That's your window.
Time, like at all times, right? And then I worked at night. So it's just like, okay, these are my night things. So I was used to having a stream schedule from the beginning. That was always there from the outset. And that was also something I always heard streamers should have like the sooner you get a schedule and can stick to it, the better it is for you. And also schedule in breaks. So I would schedule in days where I was not streaming already from the beginning. And then like just having now like just a job where I'm working in the day and everything. It's like I've adjusted my schedule. So now it's just like Mondays is actually I just changed it too, but like Mondays it's like from 6 to whenever the first pod ends. Tuesdays is from 6 to the 6 and then 3 hours after, and then 9 to whenever that ends. Wednesdays is D&D night, so I'm off. Thursdays is as soon as I get home from work at like 5:30. So there's like no time.
Yeah, but, just jump right into it there. Yeah.
And then after that, I go over to Tabletop Jocks and do that live stream, or I don't. So then the rest of the night off. And then Fridays is just like I want to give myself some time to like, if there was a Friday thing to do. So that's like an 11 p.m. start Eastern time. Okay. So I have stuff to do on a Friday if I need to do it, and I can still be back in time. And like I will cancel streams if there's like other things that I have planned. to do, but typically I won't just cancel the stream the day of because I'm dealing with other people.
Right.
If it's just like myself, I can just cancel the stream. But if I have like other people who have signed up, I try my hardest not to cancel that day unless people start dropping. In which case, I hate asking people the day of to stream, so I tend not to.
Yeah. That makes sense. There's that added stress of like the panic mode of, oh no, this person now has dropped out, and now I got to try to piece something together. Yeah, I get that.
Right, because I have certain things set up. So yeah, part of my like I always have to be busy, and I feel weird if I'm not rushing. So like it started by just like, hey, you want to play at this time? Cool. Here's like a Google link. I'll send it to you. And then it's evolved to where like now I send out like a Google form to people, and they fill it out like with their name, their like Discord name, their socials, so I can have that sort of stuff in, and like their deck list, and a profile picture. That's also new, so I can like, so I don't have to go to Twitter to find their profile picture because people would have animated things up.
Yep.
So I don't, but like I know that's not how they that's not the only way they present themselves. So I'm like, okay, well, I can't scroll through all of Twitter to find your most recent picture. So just give me whatever profile picture you want. Yeah. So it's like I try to be as, I want to have my streams in such a way where people camera gesture things. I want to have my stream set up in such a way where people don't have to do much more than show up. That's what I want. That I want, because people are
as the host, you're like, this, I've got everything ready for them. They just be here, be present.
Exactly.
Yes. Okay. Sweet.
Right. You don't have to post that this is happening if you want. Like, here's the ad that I made, but like if you don't want to, that's fine. Like I handle all of it. All I need is like your name, your deck list, profile picture, social, so I can make sure that stuff is included, and then we're good to go. And then show up. And that's what I have the process at right now. So like here's a Google form, and then the Google form links to a Calendly thing that will let people sign up for whatever date works for them. So I don't have to say, oh, I'm playing on these days. It's just like, no, if these dates work for you, right, then like it's good. And I just make sure those dates align with my work calendar and my time off, and scheduled time with friends. Okay, well, I'll make sure I don't have the stream open that day. And that worked great for like 3 weeks. And then it kept working great, and I would start stream and have nothing to rush to do. Like stream would just start, and it would be fine. And it felt weird. It felt weird to be prepared. So I'm like, okay, well, how can I make things even worse for myself so that I'm like still
gotta keep moving, never stop.
Because it feels weird when everything's working out. It just doesn't feel right. So I'm like, I could have the ad done like during lunch. Or
but if I set this time up just to do it right,
exactly. If I'm rushing to get the ad done an hour before stream, then that means I'm never stopping, and that's great for me. So it's just like I will enhance my stream and make it easier to run for everyone's involvement, and then I'll add more things to my stream to make it still more difficult for me because I don't feel comfortable being at rest.
I completely
I need
understand
some
that.
fire to put out.
That energy, that panic mode of like, okay, we got to keep going. Yes. I like that.
So that's me. So like right now I'm like, okay, like I'm trying to get a new overlay set up. I'm trying to find other ways to make that like that process easier, so then I can make it harder for myself later. But that usually means that there's like an upgrade in the stream itself. So
right, it all pays out in the end. Everything works out.
I'm mentally at peace by being overstressed, and chat gets a new emote to pop up.
They get some cool stuff to play with.
Exactly. Everyone's happy.
Right, it all works. It's great.
Everyone's happy.
All right, so you like Magic's your like go-to stream side of things. You used to do the Siege stuff. Have you thought about like adding in other games? I know you sprinkle in every now and again. You'll do some gaming days and stuff like that. But like, I still do RTS stuff and I still do Magic, but I've like have them very separated now. Like, here's a YouTube channel for RTS stuff, and I'll stream up commentary tournaments and all, but here's my Magic stuff, and that's very separated in its own YouTube side of things. So like, right. I have them separated. Is that something you've ever thought about, or you're like, I'll just sprinkle it in on my
Yeah.
stream schedule as I need to, or what about?
I mean, when I went from Siege to Magic, it was like Siege to Arena to now Commander. And Commander's like 100%, but like I also want to kind of like start a YouTube channel and like have more than just like gameplay up. I've started to record more and more videos and everything. So because the stream was running too smoothly, I've decided to now branch into YouTube content so that I now have more things to do all the time forever. Until that becomes too smooth and I don't know, decide to do something else. But luckily that's, you know, the YouTube stuff is more than enough to kind of
YouTube's a lot. It's a lot.
It's a lot. Which means I'm at peace.
Right.
But yeah, it's like, I mean, but because there's still other games I want to play. Like I still like to do variety of things. You know, TCG Simulator has been just really fun, super chill to do. And like that's like a weekend sort of game, you know, thing. I think I'm proud enough to say, like, even after doing this for like 6 years, I am just now running into the point where my scheduled free time is being overtaken by scheduled work time. So it's actually been like a real mental hurdle to like kind of put free time away and do more work stuff. So, you know, that's only just now happening. I'm losing that battle, but you know, we'll get there. But it's just like I still do make sure I have time with friends.
Good.
And I'm glad to have gotten closer with friends more recently too, where like, you know, they have a scheduled time where they're playing, and that gives me time to like, okay, after stream I can do like a little bit of other production stuff, and then hey, they want to start playing games, all right, now I can start playing games with them too, and like that's kind of like the scheduled time. So it's all just like making sure I give myself time to decompress and just like play other games that aren't Magic and everything. One, so I don't get burned out on Magic. But also so I can just get closer with friends too. Like that's also like a very important part. So yeah, you know, the schedule keeps on getting full and full and full, and I'm gonna keep on stuffing it
as much as you can. Yeah,
as much as I can before it breaks. So it'll break eventually, but not yet.
Good, keep it going. So let's keep talking the gaming side of things. Like when we got to hang out at DreamHack, we did some RTS games together. Like we played Zero Space, we played some Stormgate. We played that one space game that we had like the rigs and the joy. What was that space game that we played?
Not Elite Dangerous. Star Citizen.
Star Citizen, right? So like what? Right, there were some really cool games that were going on. What games are you playing? Like with your friends or people outside of like the stream side of things? Like, are there games right now that you're like, oh, I'm really enjoying this right now? Are you like, are you falling back on certain things? Where are you going right now?
Yeah, so I got into a Game of Thrones kick again. Okay. It happens maybe like once every year, but it'll take up like 4 months of my life. Just like the YouTube algorithm just started feeding me like Game of Thrones like shorts. So I'm just back in that mood. I'm on it.
Yeah.
So I've been playing like games that are already good, but they have Game of Thrones mods. So I've been nice. Oh my god, Crusader Kings 3 Game of Thrones mod has taken every amount of free time I have when I'm not playing with friends. It's Game of Thrones mod on either Crusader Kings 3 or Mountain Blade 2. Like that's been like, oh my god, I can't put it down. I love it so much. Nice. I just want to be a Stark and rule the world.
That's so much to ask for. Come on.
And they're just so fun. The day disappears. You know, like everything is at peace. Good. The other side of peace where like it's like actually just like I'm focused on just one thing.
Yes.
Oh my god, I can't put it down. It's a real problem. But yeah, so my Game of Thrones kick, it'll probably last for another 2 months, and then I'll play something else, right?
Maybe I'll just go in the cycle again, right?
Yeah. But yeah, it's just, oh my god, yeah, I'm in the Game of Thrones. You know, it's winter's literally coming.
Right,
so
it all lines up.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's the excuse. That's the excuse. Winter's on its way to Buffalo, so I'm in the Game of Thrones mood. But yeah, it's just those two right now because like it's very all encompassing, so I don't need to have other things up. But like Total Warhammer 3 will kick itself back up once new DLC comes out for it that I love. I really do like strategy games because it really just takes up everything. Mountain Blade has a Warhammer mod that I'll play after the Game of Thrones one. And every now and then, like, there's just little cool, like, kind of one-off games that I'll
Mhm.
see, and I'll just be like, "Hey, friend, do you want to just like play this with me really fast?" And I'm just like, and then we'll play it for a bit, and be like, "All right, cool, that was a nice
Sweet.
$5 game,
Yeah.
super worth it,
Uh-huh.
got some content out of it, and yeah, then we'll move on, and maybe I'll come back to it." So, yeah, there's always computer games that I'm playing one way, shape, or form, and I shouldn't be playing them, and I should be making a TikTok instead, but Game of Thrones is
But
really freaking
right,
fun.
and you
Okay.
need that time to just like decompress and just
Yeah.
game. It all works out.
Yeah, I do, but I don't. But I
I know
do,
I
but I
have I run into
don't.
that same issue of like my brain's just sitting here spinning and going, well, I have this amount free time right now that I could sit here and work on this content or make this little editing or do this thing for YouTube, and then it's like, okay,
Or
but there's this game I
but
could play and I could just
it
sit
just
here for a
came out.
couple
Oh my
hours.
god! And then when Monster Hunter Wilds comes out,
Oh,
no, like
see,
Monster Hunter Wilds is going to be put on my content rotation.
good.
Like that's how
How
much
much
I
you're
am
looking
really
forward
excited
to it.
for it. Yeah, I'm really looking. I thought I would like also really like Dragon Age, but there were just different themes of it just didn't like appeal to me enough to
Yeah.
like sit down and play it, so that's fine. But Monster Hunter Wilds is like I gotta get that insect glaive and I gotta hit
Nice.
monsters with it. So that'll like actually be on the gaming rotation, one way, shape, or form. I don't know how, but it'll happen.
It'll right sprinkle it
It'll
in.
happen. I don't know what day. Maybe on Mondays after a stream. It's like, all right, we're done
Perfect.
with Magic.
How about some monster
We gotta
hunting?
grind some Rathalos over here. You know, something's gotta give. But yeah, I mean, there's still absolutely games I love playing. 100%. You know, and I mean, I only play I say this in like a non-negative. I only play Commander for like when it's content,
Right.
but that's just because like I've already been enjoying Command. Like when I'm playing Commander for content, I'm already having fun.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't turn on stream begrudgingly.
Yes.
I stopped playing Game of Thrones and turn on stream begrudgingly. But I don't turn on stream to play Magic begrudgingly. I never have.
Mm-hmm.
I am excited to sit down and play Brina, Aragorn, Attempsis. Like because I built these commander decks because I love them.
Right.
I love every single one of them, even the one I hate. And it's just like I build them all with purpose, and it's like it's part of my own expression. And I make sure all 52 of my decks play differently. So like it's a fun time for me, and I get to spend that with 3 other friends and chat, right? So like that's my social engagement. So like I only play Commander when I'm streaming it, but that's just because like that's the peak height of me being able to like have fun playing Commander because I'm playing with 3 plus 50 other people. You know what I mean? So,
yes.
like I'm already doing it at its peak. And then once the stream turns off, I'm like, you know what? That was my socialness. That was my match. I don't need to do more match. I'm good. I'm Gucci.
Yep. Till the next one.
I'm gonna go play something else. And I know I'm gonna play Magic again tomorrow.
Exactly.
So I don't need to play more. Like it's on the schedule. It's on the menu. So yeah, it's like I do only play it like for content, but like I have fun with my content. So it's not I'm not burnt out on it even remotely.
That's great.
I'm having fun each and every single time. So yeah. So I don't know. I mean, it's also part of it's just like how my mind works, right? And just how I just say this is just how I enjoy it. So I make sure I'm enjoying it this way, you know.
And it also comes through on stream too that you're enjoying it. Like that's a big part of it.
Which is great.
Yeah.
Which is great. I'm happy that people like the me and the playing with me because that makes me not have to think about me at all. And I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna make this pretty. I'm gonna make this pretty. I'm gonna add this feature. I'm gonna make the lights flash and do this. And hopefully chat uses it. And everyone's just like, hey, Kuro, it's great to see you. I'm just like, yeah, cool. Anyway,
yeah,
but
look,
I have this
look
new
at this.
feature like this thing. And then like, and like, I'm happy that it's working on both ends for sure. Like I'm happy that it's working on both ends because I really get to focus on, I get to focus on making things flashy, which is what I like. And then I don't have to think heavily about like how I'm presenting myself, which allows me to be completely authentic. I don't have to think. I just
it's
don't.
Just, it's so there.
Yeah. So then every single stream I have is 100% me. It's 100% honestly me, because I'm showing you everything that every flashy light, every emote, every commander deck, every person I'm playing with are people I want you to see me playing with because like I'm excited to do all these things. And also, I don't have to be any different at all.
Yeah,
At all.
and that's true too, because
You
like if people see you at conventions or they see you on other people's streams, you're still there. Like it's like, hey, you if you saw me on my stream, I'm the same person no matter where you go. Like that's
Yes.
that makes
I
life
couldn't.
easier.
I couldn't act differently if I tried. I couldn't fake it. God, like, I could try to be all peppy and it's like,
Yeah.
oh, like you played Ragavan, yay! I hate Ragavan. I'll just say it, like,
right, exactly.
Ragavan.
Like, oh yeah,
But yeah, you know, and that's just me. And then when someone else comes up with Ragavan, they'll know I'm Ragavan. I hate this stupid thing. I keep seeing it so often, you know. And
yes.
and that was one of the things, like when I worked at a card store, that was like really big then. I developed that, like, just being on this all the time, especially Magic, is worth it, because like I would be this, but I'd be helping a new player or whatever get into Commander. I'm like, oh, they're just looking through bulk rares and stuff. I'm like, hey, yeah, this bulk rare works, or this expensive card works, but like instead of the expensive card, you could do this with the bulk rare, and it does the same thing, just cheaper, whatever. Like I was never trying to push the more expensive thing,
Right.
And the thing is like, okay, I mean, if you work in retail, you kind of get this. You deal with many people a day, but like that one person remembers you. So it would be like one week I help someone build, you know, Alesha, and I would be like, okay, well, for Alesha, these cards are good, and it, like, she does this when you do the thing with her to do X, Y, and Z, and then they'd be like, oh, that's awesome, I'll buy these and I'll go. And then I would not remember the person.
Yeah.
But then they would come back like a week or two later, and they'd be like, oh, girl, you really helped me with that deck. And I'd be like,
what deck? Which one? Yep. Yay. Good. Awesome.
I don't remember you at all, but you remember me. Right. What was the commander again? Alesha. Okay. I know that I would have said this, and this. How did, Dictate of Erebos work out for you? Yeah, I killed the whole table with it. Damn right you did. Dictate of Erebos goes perfect in that deck. It goes hard. Reconnaissance, easy. How's reconnaissance working out? Oh, yeah, I got to swing forever with it. Yeah, of course.
Perfect. Yeah.
And I keep up the charade, right? Because, you know, like, perfect. You know, I didn't like pretend that I remembered. I wouldn't say like, oh yeah, I remember your deck.
No, yeah.
Like you and your deck, but it's like, I know I would have said this. So then, hey, everyone's happy. You know,
exactly.
They still get my authentic self. I authentically would recommend these cards 100% of the time, and they're having a great time. I'm having a great time. They keep on coming back. It's great. And then eventually, I remember the name. But yeah,
that's how it
like,
always is, right?
Because they keep coming back. Yeah.
Nice. All right, let's keep talking Commander for a little bit there. You have 52 decks. Like, you can see a bunch in the background. It's awesome. So.
All these quivers. There's two quivers over there.
Quivers good.
I brought
Quiver's
a whole
my
quiver
favorite.
to Tampa. Oh, Quiver, literally,
It's
objectively, legitimately, and authentically, it is my favorite Magic brand. That's like not Magic itself,
right?
But like
accessory
Magic side brand.
Yes,
ever.
I've been pushing it on all of my friends and my play groups. Every time that I'm around them, I'm like, this thing is amazing. You need this thing in your life.
Still to this day, I mean, the looks I get on like flights, even from like my coworker, just like on literally for leaving Tampa, my coworkers, what's that? Because I always have it on. I always got the quiver on me. Okay, it does not leave my side. Okay, unless it's in the hotel room, it does not leave my side. It's like the personal carry on.
Yeah,
and everyone's just like, what is that? And they think it's like an instrument. And I'm just like,
right, yeah, that's
right, yeah, right. You don't know what this is. You do think you have no clue.
No clue. That's what, my wife calls it my flute case. Yeah, that's what she says.
Right. They think it's some sort of instrument. I'm just like, no, what's this thing? And they're just like, oh, what is that? And I'm just like, yeah, you know. But like, I mean, having just 6 decks on me means I got like the variety. I always bring an Aragorn deck, like at least one Aragorn deck wherever I go.
So I figured.
Gotta represent. But like, you know, it stops me from bringing 50 decks and just like, okay, here's 6. Like for this weekend, I only need 6. Calm down. I still end up bringing like a Fibblethip.
I mean, that's, you know, I'm always like, all right, here's you got to have a little extra stuff with it. Know, so like, do you rotate the 6 that you bring? Then it's like depending on what it is. I'm varying power levels, the type deal. Okay.
My decks in general are all around-ish the same
Yeah.
power level. It mainly comes down to how I play it. Like what
Mm-hmm.
I will choose to play at that given moment. My decks are good.
Yeah.
I'm okay with saying that. I don't
Yeah.
think I think I am a perfectly decent deck builder,
Yes.
especially combined with how I do politics, combined with how I play, and combined with how people treat me. My decks
Mm-hmm.
are perfect for what I do.
Yeah.
Um and also, like, I want all 52 of my decks to play differently because I don't want to be
Ooh,
bored. So,
okay.
I love Izzet. I am a blue-red mage.
I was gonna ask, like, what was your color pie and stuff like that? Okay.
My color pie is Esper through and through.
Yeah, but
100%.
but when it comes to building decks, you prefer the is it play style more then?
No, I got them all. I got them
Okay.
all. Everything but green. I just hate green.
Right,
Green is just
you're
what I hate the most.
anti-green. Okay,
I'm
I get
anti
it.
green. So every green deck I have is like the splash of green. Okay,
Yeah.
it is green because I have to. For the longest time, like Merfolk, Kamena Merfolk was
True.
my
Okay.
only green deck, and that's just because my
It's
arm is being
merfolk.
twisted. I have to, right? um, but green is just the splash.
Yeah, I get it. I'm
But
a
like yeah,
Sultai player, so like the greenness
the,
is just, it's because I need certain infect things like Glistener Elf
yeah.
and these, like I have to have the infect, so it's like,
Yeah, I mean,
you
like,
know,
great.
just
You gotta do what you gotta do.
yeah.
I got
Otherwise,
Otumi.
I'm
I got
Demir. So
Otumi mutate, and this
yeah,
is because I
right.
need mutate, you know. But like I'm a blue mage at heart,
Yes.
and like I have Esper is like my number one color of decks. Then like is it then like blue white, and then just everything else is whatever.
Mhm.
But like even the is it decks I have are all different, right? Like I have Mizzix for X spell typal, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it could have just been regular spell slinger. All my spells are cheaper, but like, what if I made it unique by it's just X spells?
Yeah.
So all my stuff is just like however experience counters I get, my spells are just that much cheaper. You got to deal with it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then but then like I have an Izzet deck. I had a Niv Mizzet deck, Niv Mizzet Parun. That
Yep.
plays completely differently than Mizzix because I'm trying to get to this little enchantment based combo and then draw a card.
Yes. Yeah.
That's different than Stella Lee, who's
Mm-hmm.
trying to get to this sorcery based combo and they all play differently, and I want them to. And I also build decks to challenge my perception and the different aspects of Magic I fear, because like I hate for the longest time I am petrified of discarding.
Ah.
Impulse draw and discarding cards have scared me for a long time because mentally I'm always like I'm going to choose the wrong card.
Okay.
I'm
That makes
always
sense.
like I'm always just like, okay, well if it says like draw 2, discard 2, I'm always gonna discard the wrong 2, and then something's gonna happen, and I'll be like, dang,
Why did I get rid of those? Yeah.
yeah. I always just assume I'm just gonna mess it up. So I'm in therapy. But so I've started to make decks that like challenge that. So like Shurikai, I like vehicles.
Yes.
I want a vehicle deck.
Shurikai's great for that.
Right, and Shurikai also helped me get over draw discard. It's like, girl, you just gotta get used to this. That's what your commander does, and it's kind of the specialty. All right, I'll draw discard, and I swear, like, listen, I take an extra 30 seconds every time on every card to just go like
making sure to okay. Yep.
okay,
All right. Is this the one I need to get rid of? I guess.
but I still I'm way better than I was before. Urabrask.
Yeah.
Love Urabrask. He's my boy. Best Urabrask ever. I need a lot of impulse draw to keep that thing going. And I'm way less scared of it now because like I've made a deck where like, oh, if I impulse draw, the highest CMC is like 3 at best. So it's like that's kind of part of the point. So the thing, like I've overcome those issues by molding the thing I'm scared of into like the knife that I'm using to kill you with. Rafine. Oh god, yes. Rafine is one of the tightest decks I've ever built. So good. And it's all about draw discard. Yes. Like literally, like you're conniving the whole time. Yeah. And it's one of the most well put together decks I've ever made. And I love that thing because it's an Esper Sphinx. There was no way
I was about to say.
Yeah. These are my favorite creature type. They're so fucking hot. There was no way I was not going to play the Esper Sphinx, whatever it did. And it also challenged me on draw discard. Perfect. It's just like it's this, and I made it so well. It's so clean, and it's like yeah. I mean, and it's peak Kuro. It's a peak Kuro deck, 100%.
Perfect. So, like, would
Yeah.
you say like that and Aragorn? Like, do you have like a top 3 or top 5 that you're like, if I had to have decks that represent me, and if anybody was like, what deck would be Kuro's deck? It would be like, here's the 3 that I would say this is the best way to people know who I am as a Magic player when it comes to Commander.
If I had to choose, I know for a fact that I'm definitely represented by the Aragorn King of Gondor deck.
Yes.
100%. And honestly, that's pretty fair. You know what? That's pretty fair. Because like that deck is not strong. Like it doesn't
does
have...
something very different than like other decks. So it's like you have to like build it and pilot it very differently, I feel like, than a lot of different decks.
Yeah, because like it's not just Jeskai good stuff.
Yes.
It's Jeskai like Lord of the Rings themed Monarch give me the crown type. Okay? And like and I fight to keep the crown. I don't just give it away. Like Queen Marchesa. I have a thing against Queen Marchesa deck. Because like every Monarch deck has always been about giving the crown away until Aragorn came around. I'm about keeping it. But I'm going to keep it by using Lord of the Rings cards.
Cool. Yeah.
And by doing human soldier typal. Not human typal. Human soldier typal specifically because Aragorn fights with fellow human soldiers of Rohan and Gondor, not just like your random peasant, like your random citizen.
Right.
That's not Aragorn's theme. So then I don't do like, I do human soldiers more specifically.
Putting those deck building restrictions in there. I like that.
Right. Because like that's just the theme of what he would have. And it's also Jeskai. But like, and I also build commander decks that are heavily based around the commander. I have always been a commander centric deck builder for sure. And like Aragorn, more than anything, like one, it's a rather political game of being like, look, I have the crown, I'm getting extra draws. People want the crown, people don't want me to draw, but I'm using like creatures that are a little bit more expensive to get like the same level of value that your like combo piece over there does. So like that person's kind of a little bit more of a threat than Kuro is. So you know, the food chain over there, the food chain over there is not worth the crown that Kuro has right now. Which, and then like, you know, I just keep on playing some more mana cards, you know, just little humans and creatures over here, whatever. And then eventually, well, I play Aragorn and you let me have the crown.
Thanks for letting me have this.
I get to swing at you, and I literally just simply say you don't block.
Yeah.
And yeah, honestly, that is a pretty peak Kurohitsuki deck of just like politics, themed cards that I refuse to leave from, despite there being better options. There are no angels in this deck because there's no angels on Middle Earth.
Makes sense.
Except for Core the Grace, that like, you know, that one's a struggle. Okay. That one breaks with the theme, but simply because I have to. But like no Aurelia or anything.
Right.
And like it just plays the theme. I still somehow win. Like that deck shouldn't win. I like it just shouldn't. But Magic the Gathering is a game in and of itself where there's so many ways to get to that win. Where I don't need an infinite combo in this deck. I just beat the crap out of you because I have one guy, my commander, that says if I fulfill the Kurohitsuki condition of keeping the crown, I destroy you. I literally say you can't block, and these 5 little 1/1 humans have a shared animosity, and I swing at you, and then and you're dead.
And good luck.
And then that's it. That's just it. That's just and you know, that's part of like the aspects of Commander that I like to share with people. Whether you just like look at my deck and you see that you can build a Lord of the Rings themed deck and it just kind of works out. You can build a Monarch themed deck and it kind of works out. You could play with lesser ish cards, but like the synergy is good enough where it just works out. I mean, that's how I view it. That's how I'm enjoying it. Do you enjoy it too? Let's play a game. You can see me play that and 3 other people who probably aren't playing the same way, you know? That's fine.
Yeah.
And like my streams don't have any deck restrictions.
Right.
Like I like everyone, I do I've gotten lucky by playing with content creators for sure. I'm not like 100%. I know that like not everyone's experience is my experience for sure, especially like with the guests and the people that they play with.
Mm.
But I'm always, rule zero for sure, and just like um enough people around me have the wherewithal and the mindset to have a good game,
Yeah.
whether it's a good show to put on or just like everyone's having a good time,
Mm-hmm.
to want to bring those decks around. And that's what I end up running into, and that's why the whole stream just is typically just a good vibe.
I think there is something to be said about that, of like
Mhm.
everybody wants the decks to do the thing. Whether they do it and win is a whole different thing. But like, is your deck designed around your commander? Cool. We want to see you try to do that. We're going to try to stop you, but we want to
Yeah.
see you do it. The goal is to have fun and see what cool stuff everyone has built and brought when it comes to the streams and stuff like that. And so I
Mhm.
think you have been lucky with that regard. If a lot of
Oh,
people have that
a million
mentality, and
percent.
it's like,
Oh my
it
gosh.
definitely
Yes.
shows. Yeah.
No, I've been super blessed by the people that are want to play with me are absolutely good people to play with, because I yeah, 100%.
Well, I think
Nope,
we both
that's
have
all luck.
heard
That's all
experiences
luck.
of other people's streams
Yeah.
or other
Yeah,
people's
yeah,
play
yeah.
groups that have like,
Mhm.
it something didn't line up with this play group, and one
Right.
person, like that
Mhm.
happens. It's part of Commander, right? It does happen,
100%.
kind of thing. So,
100%. But I do like that when people chill with me, that they can see, 9.9 times out of 10 when they're playing with me and they're watching me play, like this is the type of experience that I wish every player
mhm.
was having, whether they're sitting down at an LGS, whether they have friends over, whether they're playing over a spell table. I want people to see the games that I'm having and why I'm having so much fun. And I hope that you're having those sorts of games too. 1,000,000%.
Nice, nice. I like that. That's
Yeah.
great. So let's talk a little bit more,
Yeah.
because you've been on some like in-person Commander shows. You do your, of course, your regular streaming, but you've been on Table Talk
Mhm.
Jocks. You've been on Tolarian Community College, Shuffle Up and Play. How
Yeah.
has those like in-person Commander games, like for a show like that, been different than like just the online, we're going to do like the Commander at home type deal like that?
Every time I come back from one of them, I always try to take some aspect of that experience
Mm-hmm.
and add it to my streams, so that the people who are playing with me get just like a little bit of that sort of taste, right? So like part of my um desire to have things like done up ahead of time, right? So like your name, socials, blah blah
Mm-hmm.
blah, all of that stuff, so that you don't have to come with anything but like yourself. That part of that comes from just like being on TCC and just kind of having like that stuff sort of already done. Nitpicking nerds,
Yep.
when they were doing their streams, or sorry, their pre-recorded videos.
Mm-hmm.
We're all from Buffalo, or both of us are from Buffalo based,
From the
so
same area. Yep.
right. So kind of being there early on and being on a number of those, I kind of like, I'm used to being on camera. That
Yeah.
part's never an issue. But just kind of like, okay, this is kind of how like a live stream, a live production is run. And then when I go to different people, it's like, okay, these people do the same things. Oh, this group kind of
Slightly
does it
different.
differently, but it's different and better for what they're doing. But like Professor couldn't do that same thing, because that's just not how that
Uh-huh.
production is being run and everything. So it's always, I'm always looking like how
It's a
the
learning
background
experience.
stuff
Yeah,
of
yeah,
things.
yeah.
For sure. Yeah, I'm always looking at like the background things. Like when I
Mhm.
get to a studio, I'm just like, how's that camera hooked up?
Yeah, what rig are you using for
Well,
this?
yeah,
What's your
what's
lighting
that rig?
like?
I don't
What's
even
it?
look at the camera. Like my very specific like production mind is just
Mm.
like, how did they get that 90-degree angle
Mhm.
like straight top down with this camera? That's
Yeah.
how I do. And then it's
Okay.
like, oh yeah, it's a good camera or whatever. But how do they set that up? That's the first thing I do. And then it's just like, how did they get everyone's information? How did they place the play mats? How did they set things up? Like
Mhm.
that's the first thing that I always focus on. And I appreciate each and every single production that I go to. And then I focus on the game,
Good.
right? Then
Yeah.
I just focus on having a good time. I mean, they seem to like my authentic self enough to want me to play with
Mhm.
them, so I do that. Without me having to have streams in a stream deck over here where I'm clicking buttons. It's like,
Mhm.
oh, I just get to
I
focus
just
on this.
could
All right.
be here. Yeah, be
Yeah.
present. I like that.
Oh yeah. and then I hyper analyze on the board. Like I'm
Locked in on it. Yeah.
I'm so locked in. I'm so locked in. I'm like, I'm not even limited by like having to focus on stream and then also the board
True.
state because
Yeah.
of how I have things set up. I'm still able to kind of like look at it all. But oh my gosh, you give me like no chat.
No extra distractions just going over here.
You give me nothing to do but play Commander with you. I do turn it up a little bit. I do get a little. And the thing is, like, it's still authentically me.
Right.
I'm not building different decks. I'm not increasing my deck's power level. I'm just analyzing every single thing on the board that much more and not letting people have it.
Nice. Yeah, that's good. I feel like that's important though. Like for those kind of shows, you're like, nah, you got to earn this.
I make sure. I mean, I earn every win that I do get on them, and I earn every loss too.
Yep.
I make them fight for it.
Good. So like,
I'm focused.
A little bit more of like the behind the scenes aspect for those types of shows. Like, what does that look like if they call you up and they get you and they're like, hey, like if Joe calls you and's like, I want you to be on 2 episodes while you're in town for Tabletop Jocks or something like that. Is it like, let's have a deck discussion of what decks to bring? Or is it just like, hey, we're thinking of doing this type of deal for this episode. Do you have anything in this wheelhouse? Like what does it look like for you on that behind the scenes aspect?
It is different and similar per person. It comes down to which production wants what type of deck.
Got it.
Joe wants people to be able to go hard.
Yeah.
And that's great. So I appreciate being able to have decks that can go hard. Like Stella Lee, I don't bring Stella Lee out for games on stream.
Right.
Because Stella Lee is too good.
It's ready. It's at that level now.
God, oh my gosh, she's so locked in. That's the worst precon I've ever seen.
It's crazy.
It's the worst precon because it is the worst way to teach people Magic.
It's so convoluted at first when you're just like, yeah, I'm gonna basically be building a Storm deck that doesn't have Storm in it. Essentially, when you get like crack open the box and you're like, oh, I see how these pieces work together because we've played Magic for so long. But a new person, it's like, what?
I couldn't lose. Like if you open up the OTJ precons. And if you accurately hit every trigger that Stella Lee has in the deck, you can't lose.
Yeah.
And I didn't miss any triggers, so I never lost. But like if you're a brand new player, you're gonna miss 50% of your triggers. You literally can't not. You can't. You have to have that is it mindset and experience to go like, okay, Gutter Snipe.
Boom, boom, boom. This one and this one. This triggers. Yep.
Stella Lee, prowess. On cat, like you gotta, and I did, so I won. But but like yeah, it's each person, each different. Each person's content is different, but it typically does come down to a future deck discussion of just like, hey, what do you feel like playing? And this is usually done like more than a month ahead of time, like definitely more than a month ahead of time. And it will typically match up again. Like most of my decks tend to match up. I tend not to have to change my decks around, because I have 52. Like, I mean, if there's not one of these
that has something in there that you could work with, and
what are we doing?
Yeah,
right?
at this point,
like, what are we doing? Yeah, and the cards themselves are fine, and I leave that up to like the person. We're just like they see the cards and they're like, these cards are fine. I've always been the type of person where like it's the gameplay and how someone plays these cards that's more important into how we're going to like enjoy this game. I'm not the biggest fan of tutors per se, right? So like if someone were to ask like, oh, like if someone asks are tutors okay, I'm gonna say yes, tutors are okay. They're not my favorite. Yeah. Right. I want to have like a game where everyone gets to do the thing. And if you feel as though 6 tutors are a little bit like not going to allow that, you know, that's up to you to swap that out for something else. And people say like, oh yeah, I'll swap these out. I'm like, okay, sure, fine. Yeah, whatever. That's totally fine. And it typically, like, say for oh, sorry. The reason I say that it's different but the same is like because everyone does ask. Every channel does ask, what deck do you think that you want to play? And I'll like suggest this one. Typically, it's just like a newer deck that I've been playing around with, whatever. They're like, okay, that's fine, because they'll look at the cards and be like,
Right.
hey, this deck is
Seems
perfectly
great.
fine. Yeah. Then when I get there again, I'm locked in and focused, and my deck becomes way better.
Yeah, right. It helps.
Yeah.
It helps.
The lines all cross up. It's like the 7. You're like, wow, that's a 7 right there. It's like if you look at it from a different angle, that's a 1. That's crazy. That's like, wow. That's just an infinite. It's an 8, but then you turn it to the side.
There you go.
Bit. Oh my god. But yeah, I always like match whatever they
Whatever
are
the feel
asking
is.
for.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever had to not take that deck and then bring a different one. I don't think I've ever had to do that.
Deal with that. Yeah.
There's been some times where I've had to take out certain things to match the meta of that channel / community. I've had to do that, and I did not like that.
That's such an interesting experience, because it's like you want to be able to line up with what, like you said, the meta or what the channel feels like, but it's also like, well, I'm almost pulling a bit of the identity from the deck to do that. And that's, I don't know, it almost has this weird feel in my brain, but I haven't had to have that experience. So,
and it got in the way of my me-ness for sure. Like there was a moment where like I had to, like when I say like match up with a certain like a channel's meta, I was told to take out my artifact lands from my artifact deck.
Oh, interesting.
Because they didn't want me to be completely hosed by
certain like hate things.
Oof, Commander, the Collector Oof.
Yeah.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah. I hated it.
Yeah.
Right, because that's just like I get it. I'm prepared for that to like happen. Like I won't complain. I'm not the type of person that would complain that they allowed oof or anything like that. I will try to kill it, obviously, right? Like I'm okay with just kind of being prepared to fight against Collector Oof in one way, shape, or form. Or just, I mean, listen, I ran the risk, okay. But the benefit I get out of having artifact lands is that like I have like 2 more combo pieces.
Right. Yes. So like
there's
that affinity aspect to it. Yeah.
Yeah, like I'm ready. Like I know what I did. But I think like it was just to match the meta, because that wasn't even to match other people's decks. That was to match the meta of that community, or that channel. So that was like I think the only time where I didn't enjoy like kind of any deck restrictions. But every other channel has just been like, "Yep, Kuro, this deck looks fine." Yeah, absolutely. And then Stang hits real hard, and it's like, damn, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy.
All right, so
budget decks. I can't do budgets.
That's a whole different. I haven't gotten into it. Like, there's a budget league going at my LGS right now, and people are telling me all about it. And I'm like, you know what? Good on y'all if you want to play that, and y'all have fun. But I'm not ready to dabble in that yet.
Yeah, I just simply can't, because I build my commander decks with the utmost love and purpose and passion. Every single card is in there for a very specific reason. And there's cards not in there also for my own personal reasons, right?
Yes.
So, like, being limited by this other factor that I'm not even factoring in to when I'm building the deck is I cannot do it. I cannot. I can't build a $50 Aragorn deck. I literally could not. You could not beg me to, because I'm playing Aragorn. Okay, I'm either gonna play an Aragorn deck or I'm just not gonna play.
Yeah.
I can't do like a $50 budget one. Okay. And they're the Lord of the Rings cards. They probably do. It probably does fit into like a $50 budget.
Probably.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't look at it. I just want to play Court of Grace. Like, I don't know. So yeah, I can't do budget brews for sure.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. All right, so let's shift gears a little bit. Kind of the last little topic that I wanted to cover is
Yeah.
conventions, going to conventions.
Mhm.
2024, you went to a lot of different conventions. All right, did a lot of traveling this year.
Yes.
So, how do you decide like which conventions to go to? Is it just like location based? Is it can you become an invited guest? Are you working the event? Like what helped you to be like, yeah, I want to make sure I'm going to these events?
So just due to the way that I live, just how my life is what it is right now, typically I will go to any event if I am able to get like just a creator pass for it.
Mm-hmm.
So like I apply to them. If I can get them, then I will most likely go to them.
Yeah.
And the only thing that would stop me is like if work has me going on the trip, work definitely like supersedes that
Mm-hmm.
for sure. Although I tend to like tell work ahead of time that like, hey, I'm gone for like this weekend because I'll know about it.
Right.
Like every Magic event for next year, like I'm gonna have that in the schedule by January, to where it's
Yes.
like, hey, don't schedule
Don't
this week,
schedule me
right?
for these
Right.
weekends. Yeah.
But yeah, typically like if I can sign up and I can get the creator pass, I will go. Um, and that's and I mean that sounds hoity-toity, and
No,
I
no,
do
no. But
recognize
it's
that,
I think it's important because traveling is expensive, right? Going
right.
to there's a lot of events that happen throughout the year. SCGs, Command Fest, like
Mhm.
as well as other events like Commander Sealed, like Eternal
Right.
Weekend. There's so many events that happen. So like,
Mhm.
it all makes sense that like,
Right,
hey, if I can be able to be a featured creator at that event, it makes sense for me
right.
to try to attend that event. So
Yeah.
yeah, I get
And also mainly it's because like I go to events now, especially to hang out with my friends.
right.
That's 90% of the reason I go to any event is
Mm-hmm.
to hang out with other friends there. I mean, there's like networking and wanting to put on a good face, and it's like, oh
Yes.
wow, you guys wanted me to come. Like, oh, I mean, like, okay,
Well,
if you
thank
want,
you. Yeah.
yeah, like there's always going to be that aspect of just like, oh, like this is a sign that in my career that I'm still doing well, that people want to
Mm-hmm.
have me over. That's great. So I say yes to those, but I'm always going with the intention of just like I'm gonna hang out with my friends, and I'm friends with other creators, so I want to be able to go in the same rooms that they're in because it feels awkward to not do that. So
Yes.
um yeah, so I typically like every event, I think pretty much every event but SCG events I've gone to, I've been a featured creator in. And SCG events happen to be like on the East Coast.
Yeah. So the like SCG
Yeah.
events fit that like nice little sweet spot
Yeah.
for us East Coasters that are like,
Right, right,
oh,
right, right,
okay, this isn't that far of a travel thing.
right.
Like it's a little bit easier instead of like,
And
oh,
they're
I
free
got to
on streaming.
fly to Vegas or I got to fly to
Right, right.
Chicago and like, I don't, yeah. So
Right. Yeah, and they're free entry anyway. So,
yes.
but like DreamHack, hacks, and all that, like
Mm-hmm.
those were creative things. But I mean, I also like try to make sure that like as a creator, I'm doing something there too. It's not just like, hey, I'm here and whatever. Listen, I'm terrible at vlogs, but I try to make it up for in different ways too. So
So
I try to assist in the show sometimes.
yeah, okay, that's what I was gonna say. It's like what does it look like then when you attend those events as a content creator? Or do you have like a set schedule of like, oh, I really want to make sure like besides hanging out with your friends because that's a big part of being there, but it's like
Yeah.
is there like, oh, I want to make sure that I'm present like at a command fest, like I want to be in like a zone that people can just come and get games with me. I need to be going and doing these specific things that other creators are doing. Like what does that look like for you?
Part of it depends on the event.
Mm-hmm.
Typically hanging around my content creator friends will Anna Margaret is one of the best people in the community, just like hands down. She is absolutely fantastic, and being within her
Sphere.
domain
Yeah.
expanse has just led to just magical things happening.
Mm-hmm.
So like being around and hanging out with my friends is, and then and like through that vein and them also liking to spend time with me has led me to being able to be a part of more things.
Mm-hmm.
So honestly, like straight up, I don't really go in with a plan.
Nice.
I'll be
Okay.
honest, I
Yeah.
don't go like other than scheduled things. Like I'm on the
Right.
schedule train, right?
Mm-hmm.
If anything within the schedule, I'm locked into and I will be there to do it, right? Outside of that though, all laissez-faire.
Sweet.
All laissez-faire. Where it's just like, you know, hey, if this other thing popped up in front of it, sorry, you know, it's just what it is. Or but it's like, hey, I got free time. I mean, it's not that I planned free time, but I did plan busy time. So anywhere within this free time, I'm good to do whatever. I'm here to hang out. Let's go get dinner. Let's go get lunch. Whatever it is. But I do not go in with any level of plan. I don't go in with a plan to explore the city, because that'll just happen if my friends want to go explore the city and I have free time. That's it. Like that's what that is. You know, Vegas was like, I scheduled in an extra day, 2 days to be there.
Smart.
Right.
Yeah.
It wasn't, oh, I'm going to take these 2 days to explore the strip. It was like, I know that I'm in a big house full of people. I know that they're here for the next 2 days. If they want to explore the strip, we're going to explore the strip. If we're going to do this, we're going to do this. Like, so I definitely kind of let life just kind of,
whatever happens. Yep.
Whatever happens. And it's worked out thus far. Again, good. I'm very blessed with that. I will acknowledge. So it's worked out thus far. I plan to keep on doing that. But I do want to make sure that, like, part of my personal growth, at least like for me, knowing that I'm doing more and more things right, is just like having more and more busy time scheduled out. Right. Like knowing that I'm going to be here at this day to do a meet and greet. And, you know, hey, that meet and greet line gets longer and longer every time. It's just like, all right, I'm doing something right. This company brand wants me over here to be a booth babe. I don't know. It's like, cool. Like, that's something I didn't have before. So, like, all right, here's my busy time. I scheduled that out. I'm going to do that. And then after that, friends, where are we going?
Right.
People want to get dinner with me? Awesome. Gavin wants to go get gelato?
Perfect.
Cool. That didn't happen last year. That's awesome. It literally just keeps it like that's just what I'm doing. That's what I'm looking forward to. I'm looking forward to those opportunities. People still wanting to hang out and do things, and so that's just what I do. I make sure I'm free to do it.
I like that plan. I feel like that's the way to approach conventions and hanging out. Like, you're like, I'm gonna hang out with my friends. I'm gonna have this specific time built in if it works out for these things, but I'm not going in like I need to make sure I'm doing this on this day at this time. And
Right. And that's per person, because of course, because that is my specific lifestyle and how my life has led, where like I have kind of like that faith in things kind of working out. And then, hey, listen, there's times where I'm wrong and I got dick all. Listen. There are issues with what I do. Typically, there'll be like a plan of just like, okay, cool, we're gonna go to dinner, and then the event is ending, but there's like this awkward like 2-hour thing where like people are going back home to drop stuff off and like stuff, and I'm just like, you're gonna find me. I was at Vegas. I was just like hanging out.
Yeah.
At like on the side of the building with nothing to do, with my quiver in my hand.
Yep.
The event's like over for the day. Friends are gonna meet for lunch, dinner in 2 hours.
You're like, well, now I got to figure out something to do with this 2-hour window.
And what did I do? I just sat. I was just
chill.
No, I'm not gonna spend the money on an Uber.
Yeah, it's smart.
I'm frugal like that until there's food to buy. Then
then.
But it's just like, okay, I'm gonna pay $20 for an Uber. So I guess I'll just sit here for the next So like, listen, there are, you know, it's not just like a completely jet set life, don't get me wrong. There are times where the lazy river approach has led to
some experiences like that.
Literally just okay, like I also got to be ready to just not do anything until like something happens, but hey, like that's I'm okay with that, you know. That's what I'm down for, because even that has led to just different things, you know. Helping production tear things down has led to just blah 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 blah.
That makes sense. So like this last year you got to do behind the scenes work for Commander Seal. Like you were running like the tech side of things and doing all that stuff. I'd love to hear a little bit more about that experience for you.
So my job is in AV.
Yep.
And I've only had this job for like a year and a half now. Because just before I was doing a card store, Best Buy, and retail, a lot of retail. I finally got a job in AV field, like the audio visual field, and still mainly as a video guy. And just in terms of how like sometimes in different ways. Like I kind of view life as a video game where it's like, you unlock a power or knowledge or an ability in some situation, and then soon or just like in the future you're happy that you had that experience, that learning, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
because it will come into play. And that's been happening like a lot this past year, especially just like learning more and more at my job. So like taking that time out, because like usually I'm just like in the warehouse just kind of packing stuff and getting things ready, but when there's downtime, instead of just being on my phone, um I will like try to learn something new. Like I want to learn something new about AV. I want to know how this switcher works. I want to know how this and this works and how to combine it all. So like Commander Shield was happening, and the initial plan was just like we were just gonna use like the stuff that we kind of had last year
Yeah.
and just try to just make it work, right?
Yes.
And then like that was the plan going up into basically like the week of it. But the week before, my company gets in like some brand new switchers. There's these Roland switchers, and like switches are just like what you plug cameras into, and then you use that to kind of control everything. It's basically like hardware OBS, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like, and one of the switches that we get is like this random one that doesn't really work for like the productions that my company does.
Yeah.
Like all the input ports are HDMI's, right? Which we all know about HDMI ports, right? But like in AV, you need SDI cords.
Right. It's
You
almost like
need
whole
SDI
different
yes.
setup for everything. Yeah.
100%. But this little board just like was all HDMI. And it's meant for like kind of more of the streamer content creation thing. Like that's kind of how they advertised it.
Okay.
So it's just like, so I was like, you know what? We got nothing to do. Let me just kind of putz around with this. And I was just like, oh, I learned like a bunch of different things. That's really cool. And then Commander Shield Weekend comes up, and it's just like, hey, we're gonna plan on doing this thing. And I'm like, you know what?
What if we try something different?
I think I can borrow this switcher from work because we're literally not using it. Like we literally will never go on the show, and they've been letting me play around for it for a little bit. So let me just like, you know what? I think I can do this, this, and this, and it'll be sweet. And I just learned about it, so therefore it's a skill that I should learn. I should use next week. I just got this new sword. It's time to use the new sword.
Let's use it.
Yeah, exactly. So I brought that. I brought a bunch of gear from work that they let me use. So it's like, oh, cool. I got armed with these new things. Let me bring it. And all that expertise I learned the week before. And thank God I did, because the stuff with Commander Shield happened and all this blah, blah, blah. So then like I kind of became like the main production guy for it. Running. And it's like, honestly, awesome. It was sick.
Okay,
it was one of the best. Like I mean, I went. The goal was to like play Magic when I got there, or not when I got there, but like going into it. But then it just became like, nope, I'm gonna do this production thing. But like I got to use so many tools from work, so much knowledge that I've learned over the course of the last year working in an AV field to now do this production and try all these new things. And working with Copcap was amazing. Working with Spectacles in Blue was great. And we put together this super cool show that is even better than last year. And I got to just be working and twisting knobs the whole time. And I just had so much fun. And then, hey, next year is going to be even better. Like now, like the new cameras I got, like those are HDMI. That's going to be like sweet. And all the plans and things to make next year even better. Just like how I do streams, I already know what to do to make everything perfect next year in terms of like perfecting everything I did this year.
Right. You've already started planning.
I've already planned more complications to add on to that so that there's still something for me to do and fires to put out for next year. I can't wait. It's going to be great. So it's like, it's just this endless process. At least I hope it's endless, right? Of just like, like you reach this certain level, you master this certain skill, and then you keep on going to this next one you keep stressing yourself
Never
out. You
never
keep
stop
pushing
learning,
yourself.
never stop growing,
Never
keep
stop learning. Yeah,
progressing.
like
Yeah.
I am as blue as it could be, right? And it's not just like the control mage aspect, the aspect of just the color pie and magic that I've always
Mhm.
loved, and blue especially is just like the nature versus nurture, just like the blue versus
Yes.
green aspect.
Yeah.
I always, you know, opening up the intro deck and kind of seeing that part
Mm.
there is just
Mhm.
like nature and nurture. Green is the nature part where like
Yeah.
you're just born this way, you're just
Yep.
born to have these
That's
skills,
how
you're
it
just a
is.
giant, you're a giant 4/4 Bailoff because you are with
Guess
trample.
that's
That's just what, you know. But like as a blue mage, I'm just a goofy little human, but like I'm going to learn
Your
to put in a
environment plays such a big
Pokemon.
factor on things,
Right,
and yes,
right.
yes.
I learned something. I drew cards. I got
Mhm.
plus encounters because I drew cards. I got flying. I got all these things that I learned and worked for. I learned how to work a switcher a week
Mhm.
before this event happened. I didn't just actually have that skill.
Yeah.
I learned it the week before, but then I used it immediately. I molded all of those skills down. The first day was like awful because like all the things like weren't working.
Oh gosh, that
But then
added
like
stress.
I had that mindset of just like, but I wanted to be perfect.
Mhm.
So I switched things around and then I made it work so that the next 2 days were perfect and then kept adding on more and more on top of that. And I'm just always in that mindset of just making, as soon as I feel as though this is good, I gotta find a way to make it more of a challenge again.
Yes.
Because then that just means it's better, right? That's the bad part of the book. Again, I am in therapy, but that is the negative aspect of blue, where I will never believe that there is a perfect part where I'm
Mhm.
good.
Mhm.
So we're not there yet. But yeah, I'm just gonna keep on finding bits and bolts to put on
To keep
until
working at it. I
until
like
I'm a
that.
big beautiful sphinx.
So do you want to do more of that? Like if a tournament was
Oh
like,
God,
"Hey, we're going to
yes,
do
yes,
we're going to start running a tournament. We need
yes,
someone to do
yes,
the
yes, yes,
tech
yes,
side."
yes,
Yes,
yes.
yeah, awesome.
100%, 100%. Like my dream is to go to PAX,
Yeah.
DreamHack, MagicCons, whatever. I want to have a little mobile setup,
That would be
like,
so
and I
cool.
learn how to make each of
Yeah.
these things more mobile and everything. The more work that I do, right? Like, I
Mhm.
mean, hey, this whole trip I did in Florida was like a true stress test
Mm.
of making sure your gear has the right chords
Mm.
and bringing extra chords when
Just
people
in
fail you.
case. Yeah.
You know, and but like just doing this thing is like I want to get to a point where I can just like, hey, you hire Kurohitsuki to be there, and what I'm going to do is get my content creator friends together, and we're going to demo your game.
Mhm.
We're at PAX East. There's or DreamHack. There's a bunch
Yeah.
of
Lots of
companies,
demos. Yeah.
right, doing their demos. I want to record us doing that demo. And like my content creator friends get to be paid because like this
Mhm.
ideally this will be like a service like through
Yeah.
PAX and everything. Those games who don't get to have that like organic content creator
Mm.
outreach because that's just like not in their budget, that's just
Yep.
not in their mind space, whatever, get to have content now that they
Mm.
didn't have before, so they're happy about it. And then the DreamHack is like a more of an appealing place for brands to go because they
Mm.
had really good demos and all that stuff. Like that's what I want to do. I want to have like this nice mobile kit where I can just set up,
Boom. Ready
get
to
a
go.
table,
Yeah.
get these things, get my friends having a good time, get brands happy, get the building happy, blah blah blah. I did my thing. I have a bunch of fires to put out, and at the end of the day, it's a really good product that made
Yes.
12 different people happy, including
Mhm.
myself, and I was paid for it.
Yeah.
And cool. And then I get invited to the next one to do the same thing. That's what I want. That is my end goal. To play with my friends
Mhm. Yep.
continuously. Get them like work to do things on, but like work that was absolutely worth it for everyone involved.
Yeah.
That's my overall goal at the end of the day.
That sounds awesome.
And we'll see how quickly I get there. You know,
Right.
we'll see.
Well, you have that goal in mind though, so it's like you now just got to start working through those steps to get there. Like that's
Yeah,
and as someone like you with that tinker brain, like okay, I have this problem, I got to work through this and keep going. Like
yeah.
I feel like that's going to be a nice accomplishment when you get there and be like, yes, here's the
Oh,
finished project. Look at this. Look how awesome this is now.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm looking forward to it. One day, one of these days, I'm
Yeah.
gonna have this nice custom case that I just like open
Boom.
up.
Right.
5 laptops just pop out. I'm just ready to go. I'm
Yeah.
like, I just need power and an Ethernet port, and I'm
And
good
we're
to
good. That's it.
go. We're good. I'm gonna plug it in. The lights are all gonna flicker.
Yeah. So much power
Fine.
being used.
It's fine. Don't worry about it. It's gonna be its own heat sphere over
Oh
here.
my
It'll
God.
be great. Yeah. Bring around a fish tank for liquid cooling. It'll be
Yeah,
great.
right. Oh gosh.
Yeah.
So
But yeah.
that's sweet. I like that plan. I can't wait to see it up and running. So, have you thought about what conventions you want to go to in 2025? Just
Everyone I can
whatever.
get
Okay, cool. That's
in.
easy enough.
When I get a trailer pass to, you know. 'Cause
Yeah, that's true.
and for me, it's like, okay, that shows that they like what I do. Cool.
Mhm.
And if I already know that they like what I do, so I could just do what I already do. But then I'm jittery. So let's do
Yeah.
extra. Right?
Yes. Yeah,
Let's do
keep it
extra.
moving. Yep.
As soon as I know that I'm at a good enough level, it's time to do even more
Good.
because that's I need to be busy.
I like that. I like that. So, what's your
Yeah.
like creator goals for 2025? Like, are you working more on YouTube? Are you doing more like I'm going to try to do
Yeah.
more shows? I'm going to focus more on my stream. Like, have you thought about it at all yet? Since we're getting close
All
to
of
the end of the year, all of it. Nice.
I haven't thought about it at all
Okay.
because that's always been the goal.
Yeah.
More is always the goal.
Yes.
So in terms of plans for next year, more
Good.
YouTube,
Mm-hmm.
more streams, more other games, more edited content just in general, more
Yep.
TikTok. Literally, it's always more is always the goal. So no, I don't even. I don't plan a year ahead. I don't even
Yeah.
plan for like next year. It's
Right.
just like, where am I going the next couple months? This thing? Okay, like what am I
Sweet.
doing extra there? Yeah. But no, it's always just more.
Nice. Okay. Always keep progressing. Always keep moving forward. I like that.
Mhm.
All right. So
Again, I am in therapy.
yeah, listen, we're working through. We understand. We know.
Okay, like listen, I know it's a problem. Don't get me wrong. Okay, I am aware. I am aware and proceeding at a pace that has been adjusted by being aware.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Yeah.
Awareness is key in this. I feel like. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah.
So to kind of wrap things up, like we always do on the podcast, it's the final question is: what are you watching? What are you reading? What are you playing? What do you like? What is? We talked a little bit about the games that you're currently playing. So maybe what are you watching? What are you reading right now? That's like your go-to. You might want to recommend for somebody, or just what you're like vibing with right now.
So my sister came out with a book, Feed
Ooh.
Her the Beast. So that is the current read right now. And watching Arcane is done. So
Yes,
right now it's Dan to Dan.
Oh, it's so good.
So good.
So good.
Game playing. This Game of Thrones kick is not leaving anytime soon. I gotta like the shorts keep popping up on
Yeah.
YouTube.
You're down the rabbit hole now.
I can't stop. It's so good. These mods are so good. I saved Rob Stark from the Red Wedding. Okay, like it's a whole different world.
Wow. Okay.
The world is my oyster. And then more content.
Mm-hmm.
Also, like the challenge with the more content thing, like it's not even the more content part is more of a self challenge than it is necessarily like wanting more content out. Like I want more content out in the general scheme so that more people see me, like my vibe, come to the streams, have a good time, love Magic like I do, blah blah blah. That's like even the more content part is just like I just want more because more will let people see me more. But like I know, just like I was scared of impulse draw, scared of discarding because I always feel like I'm gonna discard the wrong thing. I want to get better at like TikToks because like I know that it's a challenge for me to talk into a camera without feedback, right? Like I everything revolves around live streams for me because like I need
Yeah, that
I
interaction.
need a
Yeah.
conversation. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I can talk at chat. Fine.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
But I
TikToks and
need.
YouTube have that different mentality of you're
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
I'm doing this and I'm talking as if you're here, but you're not really here. So it's like this whole and let's put it out and hope that you interact with it the way that I want you to. Yeah, it's
Petrifying.
Yeah.
I'm scared of that.
Yeah.
But so like the YouTube content is a challenge to figure out how I can get in the move/groove of that.
Mm-hmm.
But like, and just unlock that part of myself, right?
Yes.
That need to like, not just like have to have
it's almost like a different part of your brain that you have to work that I've noticed for doing YouTube. It's like, what story am I trying to tell through this that's different than the live stream experience? Because the live stream it's much more improv oriented and stuff like that, where it's like YouTube, it's almost you have to plan it out a little bit more curated, and it's like working different parts of your brain. So
and that's and then I have other friends who are just like who like streaming is just like petrifying for them. We're just like a different way of like we're just like, but like that, and that's good. Like, and I listen, I reached out to those people for help, so it's like I am happy to have enough friends who are trying to help me with this, where it's just like I really want to like reach that point that they know that I can be at and that I believe that I can be at. So it's like, all right, I've reached that level. I know how to make a TikTok. I know how to talk into the camera. I know how to make like a better script, so then I can do more and more and more of that. And then eventually, once I start, being able to just come home, snap out of TikTok, and then blast a stream, and then I'm free for the night, I'll figure out how to make a movie. I don't know.
Right? Like, just what next big project can you keep going with?
Once I figure out how to make all of that work like a fine clock, I got to figure out how to stuff
more
into it to see how big the clock can get before it breaks. And we're not even close to that yet, so we got a lot coming up.
Nice. I like that. All right, so that's really it. I mean, we've talked for a while, and we could continue to talk because I love being able to hang out with you, Kuro, so I appreciate you taking the time. So before we end, give some shout-outs, let people know where they can find you, and we'll wrap up the episode.
Yeah, you can find me at twitch.tv/Kurohitsuki so that we can have that back and forth that I crave so very much. But you can also find me on YouTube, where you'll see that progress slowly but surely of those pre-recorded videos. God help me come out. And then of course, hey, please do follow me on TikTok, because that's certainly something that I'm trying to grow more and more. And yeah, I mean, listen, I'm just pushing for it on every platform. Blue Sky especially, that's where everyone in Magic has gone to, but I am still on Twitter because not everyone's there. But yeah, like, it's just, you can find me everywhere. Hopefully you just see me everywhere, because I am just trying to do more and more and more with life so that I can get to that pinnacle peak where I have my own little LLC company, and it's like, oh, we can work with Kurohitsuki. We're gonna make content for games, and my friends have fun, and I have fun, and everyone's rocking out. So that's the goal. Awesome. Thanks, Kuro. Well, everybody, thanks so much for tuning in, who's watching on YouTube or listening in the podcast form. We really appreciate you guys. Do all the follows, subscribe, and all that good stuff. NanMans Nerd Corner, wherever you guys can find it, or the real NanMan is all the other stuff. I should probably compile it all together, but who cares? You guys know where it's at. Go find it. See y'all.